guys, how's it going? It's been a while, I'm not gonna lie. It's been over a year since my last video. I had a few planned, a few in the ringer, a few fully edited and ready to go, but they just weren't what I was looking for, what was not the quality of content I was looking to put out. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm gonna try and get on a more consistent upload basis from now on. Let's put all that behind us. The thing that we're talking about right now, right today, is basically how to train. It's a series I've come up with. This is episode number 1 of how to train. What inspired me to make this was basically when I'm at the gym, I see so many mistakes, so many errors, and I'm not trying to make fun of people. I just think like clearly people don't know actually how to train, right? Like people have a general understanding. You go into the gym and you move the weight around, but that's not really training. Anyway, that's what this series of videos is going to address. So today we're going to be covering the back. That's where I see the most mistakes. Next video is going to be shoulders. You guys can stay tuned for shoulder day. But today is back. All right. So first order of business is addressing what your back actually does. So a lot of people have this misconception that it just is moving your arms back and forth. Right? Because I think people get that misconception because, a bicep curl is just moving my hand up and down, right? And a bench press is just moving my arms forwards and backwards. So a row or a lat pull down or any other thing must just be moving my arms back and forth. Wrong. Because all these muscles, besides the back muscles that I just listed, I'm not going to get bogged down with the science of it in the anatomy, but they directly move your skeleton. Whereas the back, obviously directly move your skeleton or else it wouldn't move you, but it does it in a slightly different way, right? So when you're on a row, when you're on a lat pull down, when you're on anything, there are a few specific cues you need to be implementing or else you're really just hitting your biceps and your rear delts. We don't want to be hitting our rear delts and our biceps. That's not useful for a back day. So there's a few rules that everyone needs to know and everyone will just be better at back training. So rule number 1 is know what you're doing. Don't just get into a row and start pulling because that's not going to do really anything. You could be moving your arms in a way that would target your lats, but then you go too far and your lat activation dies, right? Or you could be moving in a way that would be targeting your upper back traps region, but you're not actually moving your upper back trap region and just using your rear delts. If you want to follow rule number 1, you need to know what you're actually hitting. So I suggest splitting your workouts up into 2 major groups. So one part of your back day is lats, and then one part is basically everything else, which is really just traps. Any row where you're pulling with your elbows close to your body is lat focused. Okay. Whether that's a machine row, whether that's a cable row, whether that's a lat pull down. And yes, the lat pull down, if you want to target your lats properly, don't hold it wide. Right? You need to put your hands closer. So that's a little side cue. Put your hands close together on the lat pull down, shoulder width. Anyway, getting off track, any row that you're pulling with your hands close together is for your lats. That's what it's meant for. That's what the engineers intended it to be used for. And one of the major things that I see people doing wrong when they pull with their arms close together is driving their elbows back way too far. The whole point of your lat is not pushing, doesn't pull your elbow back. It does, but only until it's in line with your body. As soon as your elbow drifts back behind your torso, your lat activation dies, okay? A few cues to benefit that is letting your shoulders roll forward at the bottom, at the stretch position, and then pulling them back, driving your chest up. That's gonna give you max activation of your lats. The other main part of your back, which is your sort of more upper back region, your traps, which is not your big mech muscles, okay? People say, I don't want big traps. No, your traps, that's one tiny part of your traps. Most of your trap way back here. And it's a very important muscle for training your back properly. If you want to actually target your traps and your upper back properly, first thing you need to know is what machines to look for, okay? So you can basically use a cable row or a machine row, just like any other part of your back. But what you're looking for is either an attachment that allows you to grip relatively wide and with sort of a neutral to pronated grip, or you're looking for a machine that allows you to pull from the same direction, right? So, either shoulder width or slightly apart from shoulder width, and that allows you to put your hands relatively neutral, right? You're not cocking in like this. And when you're pulling, you don't just pull your arms back. It's basically the same cue as before. From shoulders rounded forward, shoulders rounded back and down, pushing your chest to the sky. Everything else will follow that. Sorry. Your shoulders lead and your arms follow. That's a rule for basically every back movement out there. If you just follow those two things, which are knowing what you're actually targeting and then selecting the machines appropriately and doing them appropriately, you'll be miles ahead of everyone. And a little tip for the lat pull down, just because I mentioned it earlier, grip at a relatively neutral position, not crazy wide, not crazy narrow. And instead of just pulling down, lean back a little bit. Lean back a little bit, and the first thing you do is let your shoulders go from elevated, you depress your shoulders, and then you drive your elbows down. Now it's not 1, 2, it's sort of 1 and 2 at the same time. But I see so many people, their shoulders are up like this, and they're pulling like this, okay? You start up like this, and you pull down into your lat, into your side, right? So that's my little lat pull down tip. That should be printed on the machines. Like everyone, the machine pictures the guy holding it way out here and can only move like this, okay? Like, and everyone on the internet says, oh, wide grip or wide back. It's like, no, wide grip, more shoulder pain. So with all that information in mind, you should be able to structure a back day relatively well. What I normally like to do on my back days is I start with a row for my traps that allows me to really round my shoulders forward and really get them back and get my shoulders used to moving. Because your scapulas and your shoulders like to stay in one spot for most of the day. You want to loosen up. And then I'll go in to something sort of a vertical pull, whether that's a lat pull down or that's some sort of vertical pull machine. And then I'll normally alternate back and forth to where I have about 6 to 9 sets per muscle groups. That's for you. 6 to 9 sets for my lats and 6 to 9 sets for my trap. If you're hitting that 2 times a week, you'll have between 12 and 18 sets per week, which is right in that optimal window for growth. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching. I hope that wasn't too long. I know it was a lot of words, but I do think it was useful. You know, there's a lot of people out there who had no idea, and maybe now that they've seen this video, they have at least some idea of what to do. So I feel like overall it's been positive. If you guys like the content, feel free to give it a like. If you want to see more, I would be very grateful if you subscribed. If you didn't like it, feel free to give it a dislike. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. That will be shoulder day. I know I have a lot of loyal fans out there who have really missed me because of my absence. Don't worry, I have many more videos planned. The next one is shoulders. I have a few, in the back burner, a few on the notes. So we'll see what comes next. See you guys.